With the Major League Baseball trade deadline tomorrow, we update the Dodger rumor board. The face of LAFC faces the twilight of his career, and USC dominates the Pac-12 with players that are eligible for next year's NFL draft. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is July 31st, 2023. I'm in a terrific mood. I am back home with my wife. She's lovely. I am not, but that's okay. What is also lovely in my life is LA sports. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. There is always good stuff to talk about when it comes to LA sports. So, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Honestly, yesterday was a garbage day for the Angelenos. Start off over at Chavez Ravine. Michael Grove allows 8 runs. The Dodgers straight up had no chance. They lose to the Reds 9-0. Grove was just part of the problem for the Dodgers in the month of July. Pluses and minuses. They regained first place. They're in first place by 2 games. But the starters in the month of July posted a 6.18 ERA in July. Dave Roberts has called it unsustainable. We'll talk a little more about the Dodgers in a moment. In Leagues Cup action, the Galaxy were eliminated when their defense collapsed in the last 15 minutes. Vancouver 2, Galaxy 1. Ricky Puig scored the only game of the match for the Galaxy, who will be waiting for almost an entire month before they play again. The Sparks' 2-game winning streak falls by the wayside. They lose to New York 87-79. Derica Hamby scores 21 points for the Sparks. Meanwhile, today, nothing. Relax. If you want to get caught up on sports, sure, go through your Twitter feed all day or your X feed so you can panic about Dodgers rumors. But as you might recall, last week, I put together the traditional dry erase board of wild-ass Dodger acquisition rumors. And I've just updated it over the course of the morning. You can tell a couple of names that were circled. Those are players that actually were acquired by the Dodgers. The ones crossed off were acquired by other teams, therefore highly unlikely that they will be turned around and traded to LA. Look at all these names that sports writers are swearing the Dodgers are pursuing. I've been going through all the rumors today from sources that I trust. ESPN, The Athletic, CBS, Ken Rosenthal, you know the names. Who are we to judge? Everybody else is just a blogger popping blackheads in front of a screen. The only name here that I think is really the one to get possibly excited about is Justin Verlander. Now, I'm not saying that the Dodgers are going to get Justin Verlander. Matter of fact, I would say I'm pretty skeptical about the idea. But the Dodgers and Mets have been continuing to talk. Is it possible that they get somebody on this list or somewhere else? Yeah. But I guess the thing that's really getting me is that everybody panics the moment somebody gets pulled from a minor league game. I work out in Tulsa during this current contract assignment, so I caught the Dodgers AA affiliate out there, the Drillers. The thing that really caught people's eyes was that yesterday, a kid named Ramos, this outfielder, he is the number 18th ranked prospect in the Dodger system, Jose Ramos. They pulled him from the game. All of a sudden, everybody's like, oh my God, he's in a trade package. It's 2 days later, nothing's happened. As for the Drillers themselves, what I can tell you is that in addition to Ramos being one of their major prospects, I saw Diego Cartaya. He's hit and miss. He hit a home run. That was an awesome little moment for him. But the guy that really caught my attention was starting pitcher River Ryan. We've been talking about the Dodgers having a massive amount of starting pitching available at the trade deadline, most of which is coming from Tulsa. Ryan is one of those guys. He pitched 4 shutout innings. He struck out 6. He has a 2.96 ERA. So that might be somebody that somebody would want in exchange for a Justin Verlander. Speaking of trades that already went down, one of the names circled was Lance Lynn. One of the viewers of this channel reached out because Lance Lynn, this year with the White Sox, sucked. He had an ERA that was approaching 7. He was telling me that he was thinking that the pitch calling with the LA analytics department might actually help him turn his season around. And that's fair. The Dodgers are pretty advanced, obviously, analytically. The problem that I have with his suggestion, and I don't know which one of us is going to be right. I read from 2 sports writers with completely divergent opinions. One was saying that the Dodgers want Lynn to use his 4-seam fastball more. That would go in line with what the viewer was telling me. But another scribe came back in another article and said that Lance Lynn's 4-seam fastball is his most hittable pitch. So you tell me. We still don't really have an idea of what they're going to be doing with Lance Lynn. As for yesterday's game, it wasn't just an ass-kicking. There was injury to insult. DH JD Martinez was pulled from the game with a strained hamstring. Will Smith was hit by a pitch. He was also removed from the game. Dave Roberts said Smith is day-to-day, but Martinez needs an MRI to determine how long he'll be out of the lineup. That stings. Martinez has 25 home runs this year. LAFC forward Carlos Vela told The Athletic he knows retirement is nearing. Quote, "I want to end well. I don't want to be let go because I can't play anymore. If my mind and body aren't at 100%, I'll step aside. I know it's coming soon." Unquote. Guys, he's 34. He's been with LAFC pretty much since Jump Street when he was in his physical prime, but he's 34 now. He also added some distressing news in the sense that he has not begun contract discussions with LAFC. And by the way, in addition to that, no other club has given him an offer. His contract, by the way, his current contract runs out at the end of the year. That's troubling if you're a fan of Carlos Vela. You see, Vela, look, I'm a Galaxy fan, say it all the time, but I try to be fair with LAFC. It cannot be understated how much that guy has meant to that club. He was the first legit player that they brought in. He won a Golden Boot with LAFC. He won an MVP award with LAFC. Yeah, he played in the Premier League, but his best moments in his career as a club player came with LAFC. He's a legend in Mexican international play, but again, LAFC is synonymous with Carlos Vela. So if you're an LAFC supporter, you tell me, how freaked out are you over Father Time knocking on Carlos Vela's locker door? Pro Football Focus, released its top 100 draft prospects for the 2024 NFL draft. In other words, college players who should rate high. The list has 6 USC players. 6. And that is the most of any team in the Pac-10. Would you be shocked if I told you Caleb Williams was number 1? Would you? If you were shocked that Caleb Williams is number 1, I don't know what to tell you. The guy won the Heisman last year and he returned. Now, as for the other guys, you could be theoretically ranked high according to PIF, but that doesn't necessarily make you a first-round talent. So they also tried to project rounds for certain players, some of them anyway. 2 wide receivers were ranked in the top 100. That would be Dorian Singer, who hasn't even played a snap yet for the Trojans. Mario Williams. Yona Mannheim, who was recently switched to left tackle, is the 83rd overall prospect, according to Pro Football Focus. But then they suggested he's only a 7th-round NFL pick. Now, that kind of blows me away. That is an extreme inconsistency that somebody's going to have to explain to me. And I will also confess that maybe I'm guilty of overvaluing Mannheim. I suggested if he protects Caleb Williams well, he's a first-round pick. Could be wrong. We'll have to wait. In addition to that, something else that shocked me about Pro Football Focus, Corey Foreman is on the list. He never plays for the Trojans. He's always on the sidelines. How is he a top 100 prospect in the NFL? By the way, safety Kalen Bullock has first-round potential, according to Pro Football Focus. So again, the Trojans dominating out of the Pac-12 in terms of prospects for next year's NFL draft. Junior linebacker Rajon Davis believes that the Trojans defense will get a lot more sacks this year. Quote, I would say our defensive line has grown tremendously. They've really gotten better. The biggest upgrade we've seen all summer, unquote. Now, for his part, a different guy, embattled defensive coordinator Alex Grinch, said that they decided at the end of last year's faceplant that they were going to go get super basic to try to figure out what went wrong. And by super basic, they didn't just study game film, they studied practice film to try to figure out what the hell they were going to do to try to make sure that they would be prepared throughout the game. Grinch said that the Trojans' defense tended to wilt in the fourth quarter. For example, they would average giving up 10 points every fourth quarter of the season. They would give up 120 yards every fourth quarter of the season. So he was trying to determine what was the cause of that is. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's fitness. It could mean any number of things. The Times said that the defense statistically, by the way, for USC, was worse than anything during the Clay Helton era. Now, I got to disagree with that a little bit. You see, the Clay Helton teams, they not only gave up a bunch of yards, but they also hurt themselves with a bunch of ridiculous, undisciplined penalties. Say what you want about the Trojans last year. They were disciplined. They just didn't have the talent. So, is it the worst defense in Trojans history last year? I don't know if I'm willing to go into that. They stunk, but I'm not saying they're the worst. The LA Times, going across town, believes that the UCLA quarterback battle is down to Ethan Garbers versus Dante Moore. In other words, the guy who transferred in, Colin Schlee, he's on the outs. Now, that might be a bit cynical. That might be a little bit harsh. But having said that, quarterback, while being an issue, is not the issue. The Bruins, according to the Times, and I've said it before, have to replace 3 starters on their offensive line. So sure, you want to replace the quarterback with somebody quality. But that's a pretty big hole to fill in the offensive line, guys. It really is. Royce Freeman gets another chance at the NFL. He was arguably the best running back that the University of Oregon had ever had, and he signed with the Rams. He signed just one day after Sony Michel retired. Freeman is the Ducks' all-time leading rusher. He was drafted by Denver. He also played a little bit with Carolina and Houston. He didn't really make an impact. The Rams have 5 running backs. 5. So I have no idea if he'll make an impact here either. Just keeping it honest. I can tell you, though, that one thing Freeman brings that the other current Rams running backs don't have, he's a power back. So that theoretically could be a chain mover on 3rd and 2. Just speculating. We also have differing views on the Rams defense. Now look, this is to be expected because the Rams got rid of so many players over the offseason. They had 12 draft picks. They spent more of the picks on defense. There's a lot of inexperience on there. There's a lot of unknowns, a lot of youth. Now, defensive coordinator Raheem Morris is amped for all this change. Quote, the authentic energy and enthusiasm is what you enjoy. Every knockdown pass is likely won the Super Bowl, unquote. Morris also likes the progress from second-year cornerback Kobe Durant. So, happy talk. But you can't live on happy talk alone. There is a former Rams coach, was on the coaching staff last year, I might add, Jay Gruden, who poured cold water all over everything. Quote, Aaron Donald is obviously a great player, but I don't know if they have the guys on defense that they really need to get a lot of stops, unquote. And that is a very fair critique. That is more than fair. We just don't know what the LA Rams have on the defensive side of the ball other than Aaron Donald. ESPN's Youngmisuk said there's no progress or pressure between the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard in terms of a contract extension. Look, guys, if you watch this channel regularly, you already knew this. ESPN is catching up to us, not the other way around. Kawhi Leonard, in his career, throughout his career, he is going to be most likely to opt out of his contract at the end of the year. He did so with San Antonio. He did so with Toronto. He even did so with the Clippers. But then he turned around, signed a bigger contract with the Clippers after opting out. So I doubt Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, is worried about a damn thing. Do you remember how the LA Kings were the envy of every NHL franchise when it came to the minor league system? Yeah, that's gone. That's not true anymore. The NHL Network and other scribes have dropped them from the like 1, 2, or 3 in the power rankings all the way down to 20. And obviously, this is a result of all of those minor league pieces being moved around. They either got promoted to the Kings or they were traded so that the Kings could get other elite players. This was expected. It's just life. They'll have to rebuild the minors at some point. But let me know what you think in the comments thread. You let me know who you want on that grease board of rumors. You let me know what you think about Carlos Vela and his career with regards to LAFC, and if LAFC can replace him. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Corte El Queso production. Take care.